can't think greater than how you feel. That means then you were thinking in the past because those emotions are a record of a residue of the past. But it's accepting and loving yourself as you are, but not accepting and loving the destination you're at. All comparison is a formula for misery. All comparison. And what often we do is one of the most insidious forms of comparison is comparison to our former self. When someone loves themselves, when someone really believes that despite my flaws, despite my shortcomings, my looks, my income, I like me. I love me. When you love yourself, you treat yourself as such. To be in that place as a human being, to love yourself enough to say, you know what? I understand my value. And because I understand my value, I'm going to treat myself in every area of my life the best way I can. Be the best version of me. And then slip there. My love is stronger than my hate. My love is stronger than my weakness. My love is stronger than my doubt. If your love is
Woo! Good morning, fam. Rise and shine. Another blessed and grateful day. Where we at? Friday? Good Friday. Happy Friday. Hope everybody is feeling good, feeling great, feeling abundant. Cedric, JoJo in the building. Deanne, it's good to see you. Lovely. Shane Talina. Yes, today is 5/24/24. Powerful day. Alignment. Loving it, loving it. A lot of amazing things are here and on the way. I see some are tapped into the gym already, getting it knocked out early. I love to see it. So let's get into today, fam. As you can see, today's topic is going to be called setting yourself on fire, right? Really getting into the authentic, being bold, giving out the value that we all have to offer. So let's go ahead and dive into today. Johnny, what's going on? Let me see a little bit of gratitude down below. What's your word for the day? And let me get IG tapped in, and let's go ahead and get started. Today's going to be a good one. Setting yourself on fire. Yes. I see some early morning ka-chings in the chat. Let's go. We got ka-chings flowing. We're getting the body right. We're building the connection with the creator. We are taking time to go ahead and invest into ourselves on a daily basis, pouring in these deposits. I'm telling you, fam, it is absolutely going to add up. At the gym with my favorite person. I love it, love it. So grateful to be alive. So grateful for God. So thankful for each of you. So grateful to see the fam elevating. This is what it's all about, right? The principle of Kaizen. He talks about getting 1% better every single day, right? The great Tao Tzu. That's all it is, right? Just laying each brick as best as we can lay it every day that we wake up and going to sleep feeling satisfied. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that compounded over time is what is allowing all these amazing things to continue to keep flowing. So absolutely, I see you, Cedric, growing the portfolio. Yes, this is the time to get tapped in with crypto. We've got some really exciting coins that we're getting tapped into right now and over these next couple months. So I'm telling you, fam, if it's not, just a little bit at a time, trust me, you're going to look back and you're going to be grateful that we invest into ourselves, into our accounts, into our portfolios, and into these skill sets. Okay, I see you. My man stacking up on the Solanas. Let's go. I love it. Good stuff. Yes, we're in position. It's just the beginning. Blessed and highly favored. So let's get into it, fam. Today's topic is going to be setting yourself on fire. And this got spurred up this morning for one of the conversations that we had. And it was just right on time with, I believe, what could be some, maybe a few, might be growing through right now. And it was really interesting the way he put it. And I want to go ahead and give it to you guys today. So here's a little bit of what he talked about. Number one, I want to ask you guys this. First questions first. When I ask you what sets you on fire, what gets you fired up, what gets you excited every morning, what's the first thing that comes to mind? When you guys don't feel like doing some of the things that you don't feel like doing, what do you think about? when you go out and you make it happen anyways. Whether you go to the gym when you don't feel like, you get on the Zoom calls when you're not feeling like your best. What do you think about when you're in the times of struggle, when you're in times that are a little bit more difficult than others? Now or never, my family, my self-worth, yes, my goals, because there's going to be days like that, right? You guys see it all the time. It's not always sunshine and rainbows in this scene behind me. Some days it's raining. Some days it's cloudy. So I believe this is a perfect time to really go ahead and get locked in with some of these ideas and just get some clarity. You know, for myself, when I go through these days, you remember your why, right? I think about my sister. I think about it all the time, how even today, that's why I say it every day on these calls. What are we grateful for? I'm grateful to be alive. You're going to hear me say that every day because I know some didn't have a chance to literally do this today. They didn't have a chance to take a deep breath. They didn't have a chance to feel the sunshine on their skin, to go take a walk out in nature. So this is huge. For me, that's part of my why. That's what fires me up every single day. Knowing that time is limited and knowing that we can all make the most of it. Yes, even for myself, I'm human, right? We all get distracted. We all have negative thoughts. We have things that creep in. We have left hooks that hit in life. But it's so powerful to go back to remember these little pieces. Because when all of these obstacles do end up coming, we're able to go ahead and stay rooted in the storm. You know, during my trials and tribulations, I learned a couple of different things. Sometimes it takes us getting knocked over to be able to go ahead and get ourselves rerouted. What do I mean by that? During the season where some of my family was missing, I was going through a lot. It was a time to really go ahead and build my spiritual side, to build my connection with my Creator stronger than what it was before. Because in life, we can all hustle our way out of certain things, but when it comes to certain things like maybe another family member, maybe somebody's health, that's out of our hands. There's only so much that we could do. So for me, that was a big time building my spiritual side, and I started to realize this is it. This is one of the biggest keys that I was missing. That no matter what's going on, I can have my fire stay lit, no matter what storm, no matter what rain, no matter what hail is going on. And that taught me a valuable lesson, because that was one of the scariest moments in my life. And it was tough, but I was reading through the word. I was going to different, Shane had some amazing meetings. It's so interesting, the timing, because Shane, he invited me out, and they had one day out of the year pretty much that they actually go and meet up. And this is for somebody special's birthday. If you know, right? It's a very special day. So it's almost like celebrating a birthday, right? It's a huge celebration. It happens once a year. That happened during one of the toughest times of my life. So when we're talking about what lights your fire, there's going to be things in life that try and put out the fire every single day. There's going to be family members maybe that try and douse out the fire. There's going to be friends, maybe the closest people in your circle. They're going to go throw sand on top of your fire. They're going to go throw sand on top of your dreams. They're going to try and put it out. It might be people on social media. You might have some comments come in. I had all of these things along the way. My family didn't believe in me. My best friends couldn't see what I saw. The people on social media were telling me, there's no way you're wasting all of this time looking at a stupid chart. You're journaling. You're reading. What are you doing? You're grounding. You look insane. I had so many people trying to douse out my fire until I finally got to a point where I realized something very powerful. And this was it. Can't take it personal. Absolutely. Right? When you start to step into your authentic truth, when you know who you are, when you know where it is that you're going, people's opinions, they start to literally slip off like Rain-X. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. You know when you put Rain-X in your car in your windshield, it's a little bit different than regular windshield wiper, because Rain-X doesn't matter how hard it's rain. It's honestly insane, but it wicks off the rain, and even if it's pouring, you've still got a clear screen. Well, this is like our Rain-X for our life, having that confidence, having that belief, having that self-worth into ourselves. This is what allows us to literally become unstoppable. They say you can't be stopped. You can't stop what can't be stopped. And that's exactly where this comes from. When you know the value that you have, when we know the worth that we carry, when we know the service that we can give to others, people's opinions are going to literally slide off like rain X. So this was big for me because I was worried about what other people thought. I was getting limited by other people's opinions. I was afraid to speak on camera. I was afraid to get to the front of the room because I was afraid of what people were going to say. Until my mentor was like, D, when you get to 55 years old, you're not going to care about what Tyler _7772 commented on your post. You're not going to think about what they had to say. In fact, if it's not going to matter in 5 months from now, we don't need to spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it. And I remember hearing that. And I took that one nugget and I completely ran with it. Because anything that anybody was telling me, it wasn't going to matter in 5 months. Because I knew in 5 months, heck, in 90 days, I was going to take these skill sets to a whole different level. And that's literally what I did. My first 60 days, I didn't make more than $100. But that next 30 days, right, in that 90-day stretch, I turned $350 into a good amount, into a couple thousand, let's just say. But it taught me something special. Because no matter what anybody said, I continued to show up every day for myself, continued to stay a student, continued to keep learning. And even though the money wasn't happening right away, I knew the skill set was coming because my mentors, some of them didn't even graduate college. Some of them have never made more than $10 an hour before this opportunity. So I knew if it could happen for them, it was possible for anybody that's open-minded, willing to learn. And that month taught me something crucial. I said, you know what? It doesn't matter what anybody says. We can go out and accomplish anything that we set our mind to. When we move in truth, when we move authentically, when we know our value, nothing can get in our way. It's kind of like 8 Mile. Drop a 5 down below if you guys have ever seen 8 Mile. One of my favorite movies ever. Eminem, absolute savage. I know Cedric's got the Eminem in the back pocket. So if you guys have ever seen 8 Mile, one of the biggest reasons why that movie went viral, why that became such a huge success, is pretty much right there at that last scene, right at the end. If you remember right at the end, Eminem pretty much gets completely vulnerable, and he lets out all of his flaws. He's like, yeah, so what? I do live in a trailer park. So what? I do live with my mom. So what? My family's struggling. But I know where I'm going, and I walk myself back to 8 Mile. And the crowd goes absolutely crazy. And then the next rapper gets up, and he goes to try and make a diss. He goes to try and make fun of him. And you know what? He's speechless. There's nothing left to be said. All the flaws are already out on the table. Yes, I do come from Philly. Yes, I do come from a family that doesn't come from money. Yes, I did used to have to open my stove to have heat inside of my house. Yes, I was living out of my car in 2016. $30,000 in debt, had no job, used to shower in LA Fitness. I was eating ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches on the daily to go ahead and survive. I lived that. That was me. That was my life. And if you go back and you look at my social media, I didn't hide that. In fact, my entire story is on my social media. You could see that I was homeless. You could see that I was showering in LA Fitness, that I had no food, that I was literally sleeping on couches, going to events with no money. Because I started to see our vulnerability, our truth, our authenticity attracts the right people in our circle. And it's naturally going to weed away those that don't need to be there. And it's amazing what happened. I started to attract phenomenal individuals inside of my life. And I weeded out those, once again, that didn't need to be there. Those that were constantly draining energy. Those that constantly had limiting beliefs. Those that were constantly talking down. And my mentor said this. He's like, D, go get around people that celebrate you instead of people that just tolerate you. And drop a 7 down below if that one concept has completely shifted your paradigm. Getting around a community like this that actually celebrates you instead of just tolerates you. You see the difference? Think about how many out there are looking for a community like this. It's different. You don't have this too often. We're celebrating each other in the gym, getting ka-chings, growing every day, showing up. becoming the best version of ourselves. And that's something to celebrate. That's something magical, because everybody in here is unique. Everybody in here has their own skills, talents, and ideas and authenticity to bring to the table. And that's what makes this roundtable so special, because not everybody's going to be able to relate to my story, but somebody can relate to yours, Cedric. Somebody can relate to yours, Johnny. Somebody can relate to you, JoJo. Somebody can relate to you, Rudge, Shane, Talina. All of us are unique in our own way. And if nobody knows our story, my mentor says it all the time. He says, you're leaving millions of dollars on the table. He said, think about it. Some of the biggest brands, some of the biggest companies that you know, what are they good at? They're great storytellers. Nike. It's not just the check mark, it's the story of what Nike is. The moment I say Nike, you know what it stands for. Sports, athletics, becoming fit. That's its authentic truth right there. So when I say your name, when I say your brand, what sticks out in people's mind? What do they think of? Work ethic, passion, love, becoming the best version, getting 1% better every single day. This is crucial. And the last thing I want to leave it off with today is this. I heard this last week and it literally blew my mind. This was wild. My mentor says, whatever is going on inside reflects on the outside. It's kind of like a cut. Imagine this, right? Our body's covering everything, right? Our mouth is closed. But what if we were to get a cut and what oozed out is how it is that we were feeling? Can you imagine that? Think about that. We can hide everything all day long, but if we get a cut, it oozes out what we're feeling. And people can see that. I'll give you a perfect example. Something agitates us today. We get a little bit frustrated. We lose a trade. Something doesn't go our way. Well, guess what? That little instance creates a cut and we start bleeding out anger. We start bleeding out depression. We start bleeding out anxiety. That's literally evidence of what it is, of what's happening on the inside. So what happens when we can literally change that? No matter what happens today, what if we could bleed out gratitude? What if we could bleed out joy? What if we could bleed out happiness? No matter what's going on. This is what the yin and yang stands for. My mentor was Vietnamese, so I learned a lot about these type of symbols. You see, the yin and yang is very simple. Inside of every good opportunity, there's also something we can learn from it. And inside every bad opportunity, there's also something to learn, right? There's good in the bad, there's bad in the good. It goes both sides. So there's always something to be able to learn. It just comes down to perspective. The moment that life happens and we start to beat ourselves up and we start to complain and we start to say, why does this always happen to me? Well, where focus goes, energy flows. And that's all that's doing. What I've come to see is we're putting out, it's not the world, we're putting out our own fire. And as we do that long enough, that fire gets pretty much almost dimmed out. And for some people, they carry that for weeks, months, some for decades. And unfortunately, that fire never gets lit again. And they're 80 years old, they're sitting in their deathbed. And they're going back and they're thinking about all of the things that used to light their fire. And they're thinking about how they don't have the time to even be able to go ignite that flame, even if they wanted. And that's why I spent my last 2 weeks of college spending time in a nursing home, because I wanted to see what people's fire was. I wanted to see what their real authentic truth was. Because they didn't have time to go back and rewind the clock and do it over. But for everybody on this call, thank goodness we do have that time. You see, when you're older, there's no rewind button. But here, we get to live in the present and make the most of it. So, fam, that's what I want to get off the chest for today. All of us, our time is limited. Nobody's tomorrow is guaranteed. And here's what I know. 95% of people, they carry their fire with them to the grave. They never let anybody see it. Their songs, their music, their light, their love, their value. And I see it every day. We all see it every day. You look at people that are working that are 50 years old, they think life is over. They don't realize even at 50, 60, you can still go ahead and re-spark yourself. 90 is a little bit tougher, but 50, 60, you can still make it happen. Look at Kentucky Fried Chicken. That wasn't produced until he was over 52 years old. J.K. Rowling, 47 plus. So there's so many testimonies that go to see the age is just a number, but when we decide to go ahead and light our fire, that's everything. Because it all starts right here with nothing but a decision. When my sister passed, I was living out of my car. I was broke, busted, and disgusted. That was the moment that I decided I'm going to go ahead and light my fire back. And the very last thing I want to give everybody is this. Do you know what the difference between boiling is? Temperatures and boiling? What temperature exactly does water boil at? And I want to show you guys how to set yourself on fire to end it off. What temperature does water boil at? Who knows? Y'all ready? It doesn't boil at 210. It doesn't boil at 211. It boils at 212 degrees. This is something that took me a long time to learn. I'm still learning it today. But this is why some people can do the journaling. They can show up on the calls. They can be doing the work. They can be taking some of the trades, putting out some products. But they're like, yo, I don't see the changes yet. I don't see things manifesting yet. Why is that? It's literally can be the difference between 211 degrees, my mentor says, and 212. That might be getting up a little bit earlier, maybe taking care of our body a bit more, maybe building that relationship with our creator, whatever that is. But he says all the time that one degree can literally be the point where we go from just sitting to boiling. And it's that transition right there that allows everything to start opening up. And we literally set ourselves on fire because we're no longer worried about anybody else's opinion. We're moving in our truth. We're stepping into our greatness. And we're showing others how to go ahead and become the best version of themselves because we are leading the way. So, fam, there's never been a better time to go ahead and step into that journey. I'm running with you. I'm right here next to you. So if you're ready to go ahead and get to that boiling point, because we all know we can do more so we can absolutely become more. So if that's you, fam, if you guys are ready to go ahead and get boiling, let me see some 212s in the chat. Smash that like button if you guys got some value for today. And if nobody told you on this Friday, let me be the first to tell you, you do matter. You're valuable. You're appreciated. Your voice needs to be heard. So, fam, let's go out and do, and have anything we can hold in our mind. We can hold it right here in our hand. And let's go out and turn these dreams into reality. It's game time. Let's get to work.